Just want to log a few questions I have about the plugin. I've got a simple animation. I've got 10 frames. These three objects, they both have a simple deform modifier on them, and they're animated just to move their location. Now, the mesh animation button over here seems to work, and it's pretty straightforward. First thing I'm going to do, oops, is select all three, and I'm going to disable animation export, disable mesh animation, and I've unchecked these options down here, export animation data of objects. Then for the cube only, I'm going to enable mesh animation. Now, the way the mesh animation seems to work, I thought it was kind of the same on the animation export. When I export this and render the animation, I sort of expect all three objects not to move in space, that is, not to animate, because they've been sort of told to disable the animation. And I expect the cube only to deform, because it's the only one that has had the mesh animation button. Now I'm going to save this and go ahead and render it, and I'll show you the 10 frames. Also notice, this is my other question, I've got a frame step up here of 2, and I've got 10 frames, so I sort of expect the script to have 5 frames in it, but it doesn't. It will have 10. And yes, so I'll just pause it. I meant to point out that I've unselected everything, and now I'm going to go ahead and export it. Okay, I've exported the animation, and I've exported the current frame and opened Thea. Now I'm going to open that script. Now, one thing I wanted also to show, since I was messing around with this before, these files already existed, and here's the exported current frame, and it was done at 2057, and there's the timestamp 2057. However, this camera file, which is the script I'm about to open, which I believe just got written a minute ago, has still got the original timestamp on it from when I started this evening. It turns out it works. It's got the right data in it, but it would be good if that timestamp could be updated like this one is, because both of these files existed when they were rewritten here. Okay, I'm going to open this. First of all, there's 10 frames, and indeed it is going to render 10 frames. I'll just pause it. Okay, so that's done, and so here's the question. You see, indeed, the cube is mesh deforming, because that was the only one that was selected for mesh deformation or mesh animation, but all three objects are moving, and I really thought they would all stay in the same place. So that's the question there. Is why are all three objects moving since I disabled the animation export? Okay, what I've done is I've just gone back to Blender, and without touching this enable animation export button, I have checked the export animation data of objects button, and just for the fun of it, I'm going to select the sphere and enable the mesh animation. So we should see both of these meshes deforming, and if animation data turns out to be inside of Thea because of this button being checked, then I don't know what these buttons do. If it's not there, then it's maybe clear that this button allows that checkbox to work, but then why do we need this button? I'll just pause it. So that didn't explain it, because I've got the animation data in Thea for each one of these objects. I'll render it and see what happens. Okay, well, all three objects are still moving in space, and those two are deforming, so the mesh deformation works brilliantly. Just need some explanation on what the enable animation export and disable animation export buttons do, why it doesn't recognize the frame step button, and a bit of a question on the timestamp of the camera IPT file that it's writing. Anyways, thanks, and great work. It's really fun to play with now.